Alrighty, now off the scroll saw, we can go ahead and take off the tape that held on the thing to do the stack cut of the inlay. Already took off the tape to hold this maple on there, and as you'll notice, the piece of walnut will just fall right out, and you can throw that away or do whatever you want with it. Maybe keep it as a just a regular CS. Then you can take the piece of maple out of this one, peel off the pattern, and see how it fits in the hole. And as you can see, fits in almost perfectly. I'll put a little glue on that, pound it in the rest of the way, and that inlay will be done. Alrighty, what I'm going to do is after I'm going to wait for this to dry, so I decided to use my time while this is drying to go ahead and do the other inlay pieces. So set this to the side, and again, I'm just going to go ahead and sand this after the glue dries on that. So if you want to see the whole inlay process, if I haven't done it detailed enough, go ahead and watch the coaster or the belt buckle video, and you'll see the full inlay process. And again, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this because I have two other inlay pieces to do. So let's get started with those. For the next inlay piece, we're going to be having again 2 sides of walnut, 2 sides of maple. And I've decided to do the walnut ones front and back, and then the maple side and side. So side and side are going to have a inlay on each, and then front and back will have inlay on one, which is just the walnut one we just did. So the back is just going to be flat. It's not going to have a inlay on it. So I'm just going to do the maple with the walnut inlay now, and go ahead and get that all set up, and we'll be over to the scroll saw. I'll be back over here at the scroll saw to do the walnut inlay into the maple. And again, I drilled the hole into the C because again, the walnut is easier to hide the hole than using maple dust to fill up in the hole in case you drilled into the maple. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out now. Already we have our 2 pieces, and again, a piece of maple can just come on out. And then the piece of walnut. We can remove the pattern off the walnut. And I'm not going to put it in because I know it'll fit, and I don't want to have the hassle of getting it back out. So now to put some glue on it, and then we'll put it in. Now to place it in there. And like I expected, a nice fit. Already what I have here is I went ahead and sanded them flush with the surface, and I went ahead and did the other 2 inlays. And I was only originally going to do 3 and then have the back plain, but I decided to go ahead and do the inlay on it. That way all 4 sides will have an inlay on it, and it'll look good. So we got all of our sides done, and then as you know, we got our top done. So all we gotta do is basically cut these to size, and we can just go from there and put it together. So I'll show you what to do next. Alright, the next step in the process is to get each side the exact size with the notches on it, as the pattern shows. What I did is, since there's 2 different patterns, I just one of them I measured from the width of it and the height of it, or the length and height on each of them, and I traced those and put it on there so that the CS will be in the center. And then from there I can cut this out, the rectangle that it is, and then put the pattern on it, and the pattern will have the notches on it, so this will be the same size, and then we can just stack cut. So I'll show you what I mean. So what I'm going to do is just cut on the lines that I made that will be the same size as the pattern, that will match right there. And then after I get those cut, I can just tack the pattern onto one piece and do the stack cut to get these notches in there. and that'll ensure that both sides are the exact same size. So I'll go ahead and cut this piece of maple, put the pattern on, and we'll get started over at the scroll saw. Ready now to begin our stack cuts. Back off the scroll saw, and we can go ahead and remove the tape, so we have our two pieces. For the assembly process, we'll start by gluing it up, and we're going to be using this clear gel tacky glue, and that'll hide the squeeze out because it might be a little harder to get to, especially with these slot and groove type joint. Inside sanding will be a little bit tougher after the box is complete, so let's get started. I have all these upside down, and it's sort of like a net, how it's just going to form up like that. So I'm just going to put glue in each one of these, the pegs and the slots, and I'll show you to do that. This box, what we're going to do before we put the top on is use some bar clamps and just add some extra clamping pressure to them, and not too much because you don't want to snap the joints of this. Already our clamps are removed, and I went ahead and put on the top because during the glue up process the top kept everything really square and uniform on it. So everything is glued, dried, and all we gotta do left is just sand it all flush and make sure we have some nice joints there, and we're gonna be ready to put our clear coat on after we sand it. So let's just start sanding. Our sander of choice today is the Craftsman quarter sheet sander. Our objective here is like where the slot and groove went together, it's not super smooth, so we're just gonna sand it real nice and smooth. So let's get her started. Already our sanding is done. We got a nice transition between each slot and groove on the edges. Now this is a little sharp from sanding, so I'm going to just ease it over with the belt sander and be back with you. Already all the sanding is done, and I was going to do the burning, but I forgot that it'd be sort of hard to go inside there and do the burning. So I'll probably burn it off camera because it'd be easier to do that. So now all I have to do is just do a clear coat. The clear coat of choice is the Krylon Clear Acrylic, and especially between the walnut and maple and all this contrast that's going on, will really bring out some nice grain to it. It looks good for our first coat. I'm going to let that dry, do a couple more coats. And thanks for watching this episode of the tissue box holder. And again, we just used the contrast inlay for each of the sides. And I switched up the pattern from what Steve Good originally had. So changing it up is always good, you know, different ideas and stuff. So I think it turned out pretty good.